Hi, Darnid. You've all taken great photos from time to time. It could have been with one of these, okay, or one of these, or a larger camera, DSLR, or even one of these, an iPhone or a Galaxy. Okay, I can show you why those occasional great photos were great and how you can almost always take great photos. Let's talk about aperture. Let's demystify aperture, because it's one of the problems that my students always seem to come up with. They cannot understand it initially anyway, until we start asking the real questions. What is it? It's the size of the hole in your lens that lets light through to the camera's sensor. That sounds simple, but it's actually got more to it than that. It's changed using a diaphragm made of movable blades, as you can see here. The metal blades in this particular instance rotate and they come in and make smaller or larger holes, whichever you want. But you don't need to worry about that, except for the fact that the size holes you got depends on your lens. But most lenses these days go from about f2 or 2.8 down to f16, and this is where the confusion comes in if you're worrying about the actual size of the holes. A large number indicates a smaller hole, and a smaller number indicates a larger hole. So if you dial in f16, for instance, you're actually going to cut down the amount of light coming in. Anyway, what is this f16? It's actually a fraction, and just to remove a bit more confusion, f is the focal length, and the 16 is the number of times the aperture goes into your focal length, as in this diagram. You can see that the focal length is the distance from the centre of focus of your lens through to your sensor, and the aperture is the diameter of the hole in your lens. Okay, so you divide the hole in your lens diameter into the focal length. That gives you whether it's f16 or f2.8. If it goes in 2.8 times, for instance, it's f2.8. It goes in 11 times, it's f11. Pretty easy to understand it when you think of it as a fraction, but that explains why the smaller the hole, the larger the number. Why is aperture so important? Very, very important, because that actually helps you control the depth of field. If you know what depth of field is, it's the field in the area in your photo that's actually in focus. You can see from that photo to this photo, just how vital it is that you get the depth of field right. Okay, far more interesting in that photo. You can see f16, left hand side photo, not really an appealing photograph until you cut down the aperture, or open up the aperture, should I say, to f4, and that gives you that far more appealing photograph. Okay, so confusion here again. The original saying was a larger number indicates a smaller hole, small number indicates a larger hole. Now you're talking about a larger number giving a larger depth of field, and a smaller number giving a smaller depth of field, which makes far more sense. How do you set your aperture on your camera? You run aperture preferred. How do you set that? Read your manual, and I'll show you won't have any problems. Okay, so I've told you a fair bit about aperture, but photography is such a fascinating field with so many vital aspects to it, and you'll see some different photos coming up shortly using restricted depth of field. But if you want to improve the ratio of really great photographs that you take, you should really check out my website. Okay, I'm gradually increasing the amount of stuff I can give you free of charge, and you'll no doubt see more on YouTube over the next few weeks and months. But if you're impatient like me and want to do a highly successful 8-week part-time crash course, either face-to-face if you're on Australia's Gold Coast, or online if you're anywhere else in the world, feel free to sign up for one of my courses. You'll join the ranks of nearly 300 photographers, some of whose work you're seeing here, who have taken this course and the more advanced course that follows it. Many of them are now in business or earning extra money from their camera, letting them improve their equipment, or they're simply impressing their colleagues with the way their photography skills are booming. Hey, thanks for your time. Hope you enjoyed as much as I have. Just check out the websites as you can see there, and I'm sure that'll give you all the information you need. Hope to see you again in the very near future.